Hey everyone, it's your boy Mikey Savage 21 bringing you another sweaty discussion. And today I'm going to be talking about the new Halloween movie and giving my thoughts and opinions on the sequel. Stay tuned. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe and enable notifications so you'll never miss out on another discussion video. Now without further delay, let's jump straight into the discussion. Yeah! Hey everyone, hope you're having a sweat-tastic day. Today, I'm going to be discussing and reacting to the most recent news surrounding the Halloween film. That's right, there's a new Halloween film coming out this October, in fact. And more specifically, I'm going to be talking about the news that it's a sequel. Yes, it's a sequel despite what other fans might tell you, as well as the reported continuity changes that this film will bring. And joining me today, I have my longtime friend and collaborator, someone who's made numerous appearances on my channel, including other sweaty discussions, let's plays, and other podcast style videos. Join me in welcoming back, again, Neospace _Cloudin. What's up, man? It's great to have you back. Hopefully you'll have a little bit more energy than you did in the last discussion that we did.
What's going on, my man? Just here to talk about my favorite serial killer ever, Michael Myers.
Yep, depending on when you guys are watching this, we've already done our discussion on Chucky, who happens to be my favorite horror killer, or from a slasher film. But of course, Michael Myers is always going to be my number 2, right above Freddy and right above Jason. Yes, guys, I do like Freddy more than I do like Jason, and vice versa with Michael Myers and then Chucky. Those
reboots did not do Jason any justice whatsoever, so Michael Myers still has the top spot. And then Freddy is my close third. And then in second place, you guys are going to laugh at me, it's the Leprechaun.
Oh, dang. He's not even in nowhere. He's not even in my top 10, bro.
Bro, after Leprechaun in the Hood, it was just, I had to. It was just too funny to not to.
See, that's what I rate mine on, how menacing they are. And again, don't get me wrong. Jason is very menacing, but he doesn't talk. I mean, neither does Michael Myers, but at least you have some intonations of sympathy with him. They've given him points where, yes, he is this monster, but he still has a bit of a human side to him. As opposed to Jason, there's no human side whatsoever. And then, of course, I love Chucky and Freddy because they just love to crack one-liners when they're killing people. And there's nothing funnier than doing that. Hilarious. But yeah, guys, like I said, we're going to be talking about the Halloween film. Yes, there's a new Halloween film coming out. It is actually set to release October 19, 2018. Again, it's a week before the 40th anniversary of John Carpenter's original Halloween film from 1978. And this film will be distributed by Universal Pictures. Now, originally, Dimension had the rights to it, but because they failed to get a movie going, it reverted, and it was up for grabs, and Universal got their hands on it. Plus, you have Jason Blum. Blum Productions is going to be producing this movie. So excited. And then, of course, you have David Gordon Green, who's going to be directing it. Again, he doesn't have much under his belt in terms of horror, but he has had some really great films like Pineapple Express. To me, is still one of the great films. And then you have, again, Danny McBride coming in along with Jeff Radley and David Gordon Green writing the screenplay.
This is just going to be a badass movie overall.
Exactly. Then on top of that, they got John Carpenter to come back to do the music and the original score for the film. Plus, he's going to be overseeing it as well.
So it's just going to be an awesome movie regardless. You got everybody back, and you finally get to see Jamie Lee Curtis kick the serious ass you know Jamie Lee Curtis can.
Now, to be fair, we did get to see her do that in H2O before she unfortunately went out very poorly in the beginning of Resurrection, which, again, guys, we're going to explain the whole timeline because this movie is not going to take place like it normally would. So, originally, we had Halloween 1, which is the original. Then we got a sequel, Halloween 2. Then we got Halloween 3, which wasn't at all about Michael Myers. It was actually about this whole evil corporation using masks to take over children and whatnot through television screens. They just wanted to cash in on the Halloween franchise in the name itself. Then we got a direct sequel to Halloween 1 and 2 with Halloween 4. Then we got a
Return of Michael Myers.
That's right. Then with that one, we got Halloween 5, which is the revenge of Michael Myers. And then, of course, we got Halloween 6, which is the curse of Michael Myers.
We don't really talk about 6 all that much.
And then along with that, we also got H2O, which takes place right after Halloween 1 and 2. sequeling the 20th anniversary of when Halloween came out. That's why it's called Halloween H2O. And then directly after that, we got Halloween Resurrection, which to me was the worst Halloween film yet, because we have Busta Rhymes doing kung fu beating up Michael Myers, which is dumb.
You can't see it, but I'm rolling my eyes. That's how bad Resurrection is. I'm rolling my eyes. Same with H2O.
Well, I actually kind of liked H2O a little bit. I liked it more than I did Resurrection.
Yeah, definitely.
To me, if I had to like rank them, it goes Halloween 1, then Halloween 4, then H2O, Halloween 2, then Resurrection, then I'll throw 3 is just going to be at the bottom of the list no matter what. 3 and 5 are going to be at the bottom of the list. 3, 5, and 6. So they can just fight for the bottom spot. And then, of course, we can't forget about the Rob Zombie remake that we got. Again, in 2007, we got the Halloween remake. And then again, we got a sequel a couple of years later in 2009 with Halloween 2, taking place after Rob Zombie's Halloween.
All right. I'm going to rant for a second about these movies. I love Rob Zombie. Nobody get the wrong idea here. But the first Halloween remake, I'll admit, as a major Halloween fan, I didn't like it. As a casual moviegoer, I loved it. Then the second one came along. And I just gotta ask Rob, what happened, dude? You were doing so good. And then the ending just went straight to... That's all I got.
And I'll say this much. I kind of did like the first one that he did, because I know it's a guilty pleasure of mine. Sometimes I do want to know the backstory of why they became the way they did. I don't think it needs to be for every killer. Like, I don't need to know about why Jason is the way he is, that his daddy didn't hug him enough. But it was interesting to see, like, how Michael Myers became the shape that we know him as in the original Halloween film. Now, again, Rob Zombie, I think once we got through with the backstory stuff, it kind of started to trail off a little bit, especially compared to the original. And then two just pissed me off, because one of the things that he did that you never do to Michael Myers is he made Michael Myers talk. Michael does not
take off the mask.
Well, he did that in other films, because remember his mask got taken off in the first one, and then his mask also got taken off. I believe it was the 4th one or the 5th one. I think it was the 5th one, when he was going after his niece, and she was trapped in a coffin, and she said, "Let me see," and he actually took off his mask and she touched his face. And she's like, "You look just like me." But yeah, he made him take off his mask. He had a beard, which I don't mind the beard part. I mean, that's fine, but how do you fit all that beard into that mask? But yeah, he made him talk. He made him grunt. He just made him way too violent. Michael is violent, but he's not violent for the sake of just mercilessly beating and killing people to death. Like, he did that black lady wrong in that dream sequence. Like, he was just multiply stabbing her over and over and over and over and over again. It's like, okay, Rob Zombie, I get it.
Calm down.
I get it. Because he even grunted during that part, and I was like, watching that the first time, I was like, I'm already not liking this movie. And then the whole aspect of bringing in his mother and his younger self on a white horse, and they're apparently trying to recruit his sister into their weird family cult thing, and the ending, it was just stupid. It was just absolutely stupid.
It was dumb as hell. It was the dumbest Halloween I had ever seen. It honestly pissed me off as I was sitting in the movie theater. I almost demanded a refund.
Yeah, I haven't been pissed off at a horror movie that bad since I saw, again, the Halloween 6 movie. That's the one where I was just like, and again, when it came out, I was too young to watch it in theaters, but I remember watching it on DVD, and I'm just thinking, oh my God, what is this? Now, again, I'm glad I got to see Paul Rudd in a horror movie, because anytime you get to see someone pop up in a horror movie, that's awesome. Just kind of like in the original Friday the 13th movie, you had to see Kevin Bacon pop up.
Yeah.
That was awesome to see Kevin Bacon. You got the same thing with the original Nightmare on Elm Street film.
Johnny Depp.
You got to see them. Exactly. Johnny Depp was in the first one. A lot of people forget that.
Mm-hmm. And honestly, what irritated me the most about Halloween 2, and there's only one movie that's ever irritated me more, and that was Rubber. The movie about the killer tire. That was terrible. That was just terrible.
That movie doesn't exist in my mind.
We try to forget about it, but it haunts our dreams slowly at night. It's like it. You just can't forget something like that. You really can't.
Of course, in this case, it was good and Rubber was just a piece of crap.
Yeah, that.
But yeah, this new Halloween film, again, it's got a lot. Again, it doesn't have much to compete with. It just has to compete with the original first film. And then, of course, I would argue it has to compete with the fourth film. Other than that, it has no competition whatsoever in terms of quality and whatnot, because it's already vastly shaping up to be better than the other Halloween films that we have got. And then again, you have returning cast members of Jamie Lee Curtis, who played Laurie Strode in the original film, as well as in Halloween 2. And she's mentioned in Halloween 4. We get her in H2O, and then we get her untimely death in Resurrection. And then, of course, you have Nick Castle coming back to reprise his role as Michael Myers, because originally he was Michael Myers in the original Halloween film, but of course he also traded back and forth with another stunt actor as well. So I'm excited about that. And again, in terms of time placement, some of you might be thinking, okay, where is this going to take place? This is taking place after the first Halloween film in 1978. This is 40 years after his initial killing spree in 78. It's ignoring 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then, of course, it's obviously ignoring the Rob Zombie films whatsoever. However, if you saw the trailer, there is lots of callbacks and references to the other films, though, which is actually kind of cool that they would still put those little Easter eggs and teasers in there. But also on top of that, the attention to detail about Halloween, the new one that's coming out, the mask itself, the mask look like it's been worn down. It looks like it's got about 40 plus years on it. That's awesome. Then you still have, I don't know if some of you noticed, but on the original mask, he got stabbed with a got stabbed with a needle in his neck. That mark and the blood mark is still there. He also has one eye. Why? Because remember, Laurie Strode stuck him in the eye with the rack. So they're paying attention to detail, which I like. I like a director, and I like writers who pay attention to the little details that matter to us fans. Now again, that doesn't mean the movie's going to be any good. They could do all the callbacks and that pleases the fans, but it still be a crappy movie. So I'm hoping it's a good movie on top of that, and they actually have something to tell. Now I know I've seen some fans complain saying that this is basically just a retread of the original movie, because again, you have Michael Myers breaking out of a mental institution, driving to Haddonfield, and going on a killing spree.
But I mean, he's going after a specific person this time. It's now a personal grudge. It's a direct sequel 40 years later. Like, that's really a hard comparison to make.
Exactly. Again, it's basically set up like H2O in a way, where you have Michael coming in. Again, he's trying to get his revenge on what has happened with Laurie and everything. And one of the key factors that this time that they're removing is the fact that Laurie Strode is his sister.
Oh, thank God.
Because apparently that's one of the things that John Carpenter and Deborah Hill regret doing. Apparently John Carpenter, it was late one night, he had way too many beers and was trying to come up with the screenplay for the second one that they asked him to write, and he decided to throw in that little fact that Laurie Strode is his sister, which from then on made it seem less random. It was all about killing his family, killing off his family, and they never explained in a good way why he wants to kill off his family. Now 6 attempted to do that, but 6 is just dumb, and again, we don't pay much attention to 6.
The Thorn trilogy was just terrible. We don't talk about it.
Now, you can talk about the fourth one, because I like what the fourth one set up, because at the end, you had his evil presence essentially being passed on to his niece. I like that. That would have been cool. I don't know why they didn't use that instead of making her mute in the fifth one, but again, this is not supposed to be a rant video. This is a happy video. It's a happy video. Be happy, damn it.
It's kind of hard to do that. We're talking about movies we hate.
Oh my goodness. You know what's funny? We didn't even get on Halloween 3, which Season of the Witch is not a bad movie, but it's a bad Halloween movie. If it would have been a movie on its own.
If they had taken away Halloween and just called it Season of the Witch, it probably would have done a lot better.
Exactly. It was like certain other films where they just try to cash in on the franchise name, but it has nothing to do with the actual person or the killer.
Yeah, it's a cheap tactic, and I mean, seriously, like, it could have been a decent movie, at least a good B-list movie. And costing them a lot of money and delaying, I think, wasn't it Halloween 4 for 6 years?
I believe so, yeah. Halloween 4 didn't get made until like a good amount of years later. And this time they got all the original people to come back. I think except for John Carpenter. I think John Carpenter and Deborah Hill didn't have anything to do with the fourth one, but they got the majority of the original people back. And that's why the fourth one is regarded as a great sequel to the first one and to a little bit as the second one, because in a way they changed a few things up, because again, they made it look like Donald Pleasance only suffered a minor burn mark.
Yeah, he should have had a lot of scars all over. He should look like Deadpool.
But he doesn't. Same thing for Michael Myers. He doesn't look like that. But one of the things that's also awesome, and it's a bit of a tie back, is the fact that they reference Dr. Loomis. Now again, if you guys don't know, he's played by the late great Donald Pleasence, who unfortunately passed away. His last time actually recording a film in the Halloween series was 6, and he died shortly in the middle of filming that movie. But if you saw in the trailer, they actually had a little sketch drawn of Donald Pleasence. So we might see some stock footage from the original film of him answering, was that the boogeyman? You might get some more little dialogue from him as well about him describing who is Michael Myers. He's simply pure evil on 2 legs, which is one of the things that they have, David Gordon Green and Danny McBride have all said, that this movie, it's going to be taking Michael Myers back to being known as the Shape. He's not Michael Myers, he's the Shape, and his killings will be more random. They're not necessarily going to be just targeted at one person. Yes, he wants revenge on Laurie Strode for what happened in the first film, but at the same time, he's going to be going after other people as well that aren't tied to him.
Yeah. And I mean, now that they're putting out this one, as a Halloween fanboy, I am extremely hyped up for this. I'm going to go in there with the highest of expectations and hope to God they don't run them into the ground.
Exactly. But yeah, I'm excited for this Halloween film, man. I am like legit excited. Anytime Blumhouse puts out something and it looks interesting, they got my attention. They're kind of like A24. Most time when A24 puts out a movie, it has my attention. Now there is the Truth or Dare movie that Blumhouse put out. I didn't like that. I did not like it at all. But I feel
we don't talk about that movie.
But I feel like, you know what, it's okay. Even Blumhouse Tilt has put out a good couple of films that I don't mind. Because if this movie makes money, not only will you see other franchises do the same thing and be like, okay, let's make direct sequels to our first films or our first good couple of films and just ditch the bad ones. I mean, you already have Terminator doing that. You never know. They might end up doing the same thing with Friday the 13th. They might keep a couple of the good Friday the 13th movies and then pick it up where Jason has been living in isolation in Camp Crystal Lake for years, and finally somebody decides that they want to open up the camp again after all these years because they think he is dead. Boom. Studios, there's your setup right there for a film. Right there.
Man, you better patent that right now, because I don't think you're going to be able to get that idea back if they use it.
I don't care. Let them use it. As long as they make a good movie, that's all I care about.
Very, very true.
But yeah, this movie, again, has the potential to do like a lot of things. And that's one of the things that I'm excited about for the future of this franchise. Because if it does well, then we might see I don't know what they would call it. They would have to give it a subtitle, because this one is just simply called Halloween, not Halloween 2 or Halloween 40 years later. It's just called Halloween, which is confusing to some people because some people might think this is the first film, but it's not. So hopefully
it's a direct continuation.
Exactly. Hopefully they'll give it like some kind of subtitle or something. But I'm excited for, again, what they could do with this franchise in the future, because again, if it blows up, people are going to want to see another one, because people have been clamoring for a Halloween movie. They've been clamoring for a Friday the 13th movie, and dadgummit, they've been clamoring for a Nightmare on Elm Street movie for years. And then of course, Chucky doesn't look like he's going to stop anytime soon. He's still going, even though he's straight to DVD. He's still going to be pumping out films, and of course a television series now as well, along with a remake.
It's just been a great time for horror in general. It really has.
But you can say the horror renaissance really, it started back 2015 probably. I think 2015 is when we really started to see a lot of horror movies come into their own, because it's 2015, 2016, because during that time period we got awesome films like Lights Out, we got Don't Breathe. We had Greenhouse, which a lot of people will argue Greenhouse isn't good. Greenhouse was a dadgum great horror film, in my opinion. And again, it was the last movie that Anton Yelchin was known for, besides, again, his Star Trek movies. We had other great horror movies. We had Get Out come out last year. This year, we have A Quiet Place, which is tearing it up. So I think this time, and I almost forgot about It. It came out last year and was crushing and doing so fantastically.
Yeah, but everything Stephen King kills, no matter what. Box office, book sales, you name it.
That is true.
They could remake Shawshank with Morgan Freeman now and it would still, sell out box offices.
That's very true. And even Netflix hasn't been so bad with some of the horror movies that they have been putting out. So it's a great time to be a horror fan. I'll say this much. Again, we get crappy movies every once in a while and they're awful. But I say overall, the quality, when you have films like Raw and you have films like The Void and all these other creepy atmospheric movies that are coming out, it does something good for the soul, especially if you are a longtime horror fan like I am and like my buddy Neospace is. So that's why we're so hyped up and so excited for this new Halloween film, because the possibilities are endless. because if it does well, we got ourselves a franchise. So again, hopefully this film will come out and be as good as the original, if not a little bit less than the original. Again, as long as it gives us the whole atmosphere that John Carpenter set up in the first film, I think it'll be really great, at least in my opinion.
I agree with you on that one. And like I said, I'm just walking in there with my hopes up high and just hoping to God this movie is not absolutely terrible.
And what I'm really hoping for is I hope they do a double feature like they did with like Deadpool and Deadpool 2, and what they did with Incredibles and Incredibles 2.
Like, they gotta replay the first one for anybody to make sense of it.
Exactly. So hopefully they'll do that. They'll have a double feature showing and whatnot, and that way people can watch the original film and then go straight into this new one without being confused and whatnot.
And, well, I'm pretty excited myself. I just want to see this movie play out. I want to see what happens, and I want to know what they're going to do that basically resets the whole trilogy. Because there's one way this could go. This could go Days of Future Past well, or this could go X-Men Apocalypse well. Which, the second one, despite what I say, is not good.
But alright guys, that has been our thoughts on the upcoming Halloween film. Again, we might come back and do a review together or another discussion later on, once more news comes out about Halloween and everything, or once we've had a chance to actually see the film. Again, from what we saw in the trailer, it looks fantastic. The trailer looks like it's going back to the original horror roots. It has me excited for this Halloween sequel, and I'm just excited to see what they're going to do with this franchise now that Blumhouse has their hands on it. Neospace, thank you so much for coming on, man. I really do appreciate you coming in and giving your insight, especially since you're an even bigger sweaty and horror fan than I am when it comes to the Halloween franchise. It's great having you on the video, man.
It's not a problem, man. Happy to be here and happy to give my input about my favorite movie series in history.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm recording this after the fact that myself and Neospace have already done our discussion. One of the things that I forgot to bring up was Comic-Con. Again, I really didn't talk much about San Diego Comic-Con because of the passing of one of my favorite YouTube personalities. But from what we saw in the footage that they showed in Comic-Con and from what people have described to us, there's like a scene where Michael actually does a one take where he first arrives to the town. You see that scene where he bumps into the kid, which is reminiscent of the very first Halloween film. Apparently from there, it's set up to where he goes and just sneaks into this person's house and then kills them, then goes into another person's house and starts killing them. And that's one of the things that Danny McBride and David Gordon Green said, that the killings were going to be a lot more sporadic and random, that they weren't necessarily going to focus in on Laurie Strode, because at the moment, he's not even thinking about Laurie Strode. He's just happy to be outside of those confined walls, and it's just going to go on a massive killing spree. And of course, that's going to alert Laurie Strode's character, who has been preparing and waiting for him all these 40 years since he's been locked up. So I personally think that's going to be pretty cool to see a unhinged Michael Myers just going off and just killing randomly, just mercilessly killing people. And one of the things I'm wondering is, are they going to share the same philosophy that John Carpenter had, where John Carpenter barely showed any blood, if any at all, in the first Halloween movie? So I'm wondering, are we going to see like blood, or is it just going to be, because apparently there's a scene where he apparently takes a butcher's knife and stabs it right through a woman's neck. There's going to have to be some kind of blood depending on where. It doesn't matter where he sticks it through, now that I think about it. There's going to be some form of blood when it comes to that particular scene. So it looks like they're going to take some of the elements from the first one, but they're going to ramp it up a little bit. Kind of like what they did with the original Halloween 2 sequel, where you saw a lot more blood and you saw Michael be a little bit more creative and violent when it came to killing people. Because again, with the sequel, you want to make sure that you get people coming back, but you also want to make sure that they leave with memorable moments and memorable kills on their mind. So I'm looking forward to seeing this movie in October. I really am going to try my best to do a review of the movie with or without Neospace, because it's been a very long time since I've done like a movie review for like a horror based film. And again, I might have one come out before the Halloween one, but I definitely plan to review the Halloween movie when it comes out. All right, so I'm going to throw it back to me now. Well, you've heard our thoughts on the Halloween reboot/sequel, but the discussion doesn't stop there. Let us both know down in the comment section below what you think about the movie. Are you excited for the new Halloween film and the possibility of future installments? What are your thoughts on the other Halloween films that are being erased from the timeline? Post your thoughts down below and be sure to subscribe to my channel as well as Neospace's channel. Again, thank you guys so much for tuning into this discussion video, and I hope you all have a sweaty day. Peace out, y'all.
Latest.